But as is traditional in our own way, I will quickly introduce Mr. Badiwe Aikawo, former secretary of the organization. Thank you very much for coming. Mr. Wole Olorunsoyi, you are also welcome. Mr. Etilawa, our own navigator, we appreciate you, sir. Comrade Nazaiga, National Public Secretary, you are also welcome. Comrade Deji Adebowale, former treasurer, you are also recognized. We have the indefatigable, highly committed and resourceful Augustine Adeshegun Aloba, you are also welcome. We have some of our guests who are also very good friends of CDHR, who are also playing one part of the other. We have in our midst coverage Boyega Otunuga, aka Baggies. You are also welcome. Thank you very much. We welcome into our midst the lead discusser today, Emeritus President of the Committee for the Cause of Human Rights. My own president, we had the opportunity of serving twice together as Public Secretary and later as National Secretary. Please let us join me in welcoming Barrister Olashuko. Please. That is not enough, Mr. President, please. That is not enough, please. You will remember under him, the CDHR undergone tremendous transformations. And you will also know that under him, he parted that wonderful Right House. I am proud of him, and I'm happy that he's here to join us in an effort at liberating our organization from the conscience of those who don't want progress. That is our job. We are welcome, sir. So I have just recognized Comrade Otunuga. We also have IGC Ben and Abiriolo. Kabiyesi Evangelist. We also have Supo Antonia Yose representing the DPO. Welcome. There is one man who is also here, whom, since I have the power to summon him. He's my friend, my brother. He's been very helpful to the organization. Comrade Dayo Usu, please join us on this side of the table. Comrade Dayo Usu, please join us on this side of the table. Hi, Chief Ayo Abiriolo. You are welcome to the high table too. So, Mr. President, sir. Mr. President, don't be too surprised that we are moving for you. And I know you are always with you. I'm very sure you are with you. We have one man that we call June 12. He was one of our killers in the late 90s and early 2000s. Before he relocated, we call him June 12 because he had encounters with the police, soldiers on one of these June 12 celebrations. Please let us welcome Comrade Akinwumi Oladejo, aka June 12. We also have one of our chairmen, one of our chairmen in Lagos, former chairman, Comrade Alex Omotayishi. They are also welcome. Thank you very much. I will quickly hand over the microphone to our lead discussant to the Vice Chancellor to do justice to the topic before him. Thank you very much.
CDHR. CDHR. My right is my right is my right. I don't know what would have compensated if I have missed this gathering. Because I have the privilege, it's a very rare privilege, of seeing my comrades, people with whom we have been in the trenches, people who sacrifice their comfort, people who spend their money, their time, their energy in building CDHR to what it has become today. To all of you, I say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. And thank you to the leadership of CDHR for inviting me to be here today. It's the first time I've ever been invited to the annual general conference of CDHR since I left as president. That's another story for another day. I know because we are comrades, there are some things we don't bother to emphasize. There are some things we just sweep over. We just say, oh, don't bother, let's move forward. Let's move on. And that attitude, please, don't let it die. Whatever will make us to go back, please let us jump over it. Let us overlook it. And let us move forward. Thank you.
Stop short.
Thank you so much. I am to discuss human rights as our everyday essentials, fundamental, inviolable, indiscriminate, and discussed here. I'm not going to read anything. I'm going to talk. When the United Nations adopted this theme that has been adopted globally as the theme for Human Rights Day, adopted at the United Nations Human Rights Council. When I saw it, I felt disturbed. Why? It is because some of the things, the entire team itself, I feel they are not well grounded in human rights. That is the leadership of the United Nations Human Rights Council. I felt disappointed in them. Why did I feel disappointed? I feel they are not well grounded in human rights. They ought to have adopted a more serious thing that will be able to bring to the border and directly address the experiences of the people in African countries for whom the theme appears scholastic. I'm saying this deliberately, that this theme appears merely scholastic. Because in Africa, the issues we are confronted with is not about definition of human rights now. It's about the realization and achievement and enjoyment of human rights. And I'm not surprised. Because the chairman, that is the current United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, that's Mr. He is from Australia. Why Ambassador Sidacho Razay of Indonesia, yes, is the president of the United Nations Human Rights Council. I don't need to say more. I hope you understand. They are not in our part of the world. So they are still talking about definition of human rights. They didn't undergo the struggle that we passed through. Many of them have never participated in a protest in their life. But we have done it at the risk of our lives. So I believe that was what they believed as damning to them. Well, notwithstanding that, I feel that they should have allowed each continent to develop its own theme for the Human Rights Day celebration. Or they should have allowed some subcontinents like ECOWAS to develop their own theme that will directly address issues of human rights violations within the West Africa. Much more, they could have even allowed each country, like the National Human Rights Commission, to adopt a particular theme that will be relevant to our situation in Nigeria. Even at that, with how big Nigeria is and how diverse, I think the same theme should not even be applied to the whole of Nigeria. Why? Because human rights exercise, enjoyment and protection differs from one geographical zone to another in Nigeria. The adoption of general themes only succeeds in varying the different realities of different peoples in different countries. So at the end of the day, the theme will be addressed and dissected. But the problem being encountered by the people in different parts of this country will not be addressed. Human rights enjoyment, human rights exercise, human rights defense is not the same all over Nigeria.
There are some parts of Nigeria where people are not being treated as human beings. Within Nigeria. Not to talk of Africa. Not to talk of the world. But my solace, even though I still disagree with the United Nations Commission for Human Rights, I take solace in the need to continue to harp on the ideals of human rights from generation to generation. Please, you will excuse me. I just used my Luther sense to escape from the doctor. Doctor wanted to detain me in his hospital. I had to tell him I was okay, so that he will allow me to go. So please, you just excuse me. Now, we have to continue our education and awareness programs. That's the beauty, the only essence I find in the bill. It affords us opportunity to continue our education and our awareness about CDHR, about human rights generally. I recall the CDHR intensive human rights education program in the late 1980s and 1990s, which was taken to all campuses of universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, streets, motor parks, marketplaces, and communities, and associations all over Nigeria, and which produced well-grounded, brilliant human rights activists. The point I'm making is that human rights education is not new to us as CDHR. We did it, we have done it, and we succeeded in it. I remember different, even landlords associations, they were requesting that we should please come and have a meeting with them and educate them about human rights. So, to now look at this theme, we know that human rights are fundamental, universal, and inalienable rights and freedoms inherent to all people simply by virtue of being human. Just because you are a human being, you are entitled to human rights. There is argument about when does a person become a human being. Is it when the fetus is planted in the womb of the mother, or when the baby comes out of the body of the mother alive? I don't know why people engage in such frivolity. A fetus in the stomach, in the womb of the mother, yes, there is a period of development. When it is safe, even to remove the baby and put the baby in the incubator, there is a period when you dare not remove the baby from the womb, otherwise it will not survive. But notwithstanding that, a human being, we all know who a human being is. So, a human being, by virtue of being a human being, is entitled to human rights. And regardless of race, regardless of sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status encompassing civil, political, economic, social, and cultural aspects, like the right to life, liberty, education, work, and freedom from slavery or torture. They obligate governments to protect these rights and prevent violations, ensuring everyone can live with dignity, fairness, and respect. So much for definition. But I observe that this definition already encompasses everything. You are entitled to human rights whether you are white or black, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are a man or a woman. There are parts of this country where a woman must not talk in public. I believe you know. There are other parts of this country where women are even allowed to be governors, even to be president, to be head of family. But then you may say this is cultural. That one now takes us to the issue of culture in human rights. But my position is that any culture that violates fundamental human rights must not be allowed to remain, must not be allowed to stand. And even the Supreme Court of Nigeria, as unprogressive as it is, they still try and deliver certain judgments in which they pronounced that it is discrimination to say that female children are not entitled to inherit the property of their parents. So whether you are a man or a woman, once you are a human being, male or female, you are entitled to your human rights. Now the major categories of human rights, we have the civil and political rights. This protects individual liberties from government infringement. We call this civil and political rights because government easily violate them. Examples include the right to life, freedom from torture, and the right to fair trial, and the freedom of speech and assembly and association, movement, and so forth. Economic, social, and cultural rights, these ensure basic human needs and participation in society. Examples include the right to work, education, healthcare, and adequate standards of living. Solidarity rights is the third category. This one refers to collective rights that belong to all societies, such as the right to a healthy environment and sustainable development. Now the legal frameworks. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the UN in 1948, serves as the foundation for international human rights law. But to me, that was not the beginning of human rights. 1948 was not the beginning of human rights. What the United Nations did was to codify what has been existing even before the formation of United Nations. Then we have the international covenants that the ICC have, ICSC have, and treaties made these rights legally binding and for signatory nations. Now we have African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and that one is closer to us than the United Nations Declaration. And we have Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended. And when we talk about hierarchy of laws, courts in Nigeria, their position is that we can only enforce human rights that are entrenched in the Constitution of Nigeria. And even though African Charter on Human and People's Rights has been encoded, has been made a law, part of our law in Nigeria, our courts still believe that our constitution should be given priority. So the modern understanding of human rights is defined by several key principles. Universality. This applies to everyone, everywhere, at all times. Universality means human right applies to everybody, everywhere, every time. I will still say something about this one. Inalienability, it cannot be voluntarily given up or taken away by others. In essence, your human right, you cannot even surrender it. Then that can even be taken away from you. That's part of the characteristics of human rights. Key principles. Indivisibility and interdependence. You cannot divide it. All rights are of equal status. The realization of one often depends on the fulfillment of others. You say somebody has the right to life, but the person has no work. Therefore, he has no money.
that he can use to buy food for himself. For how long will he stay alive without food? Now, another principle is equality and non-discrimination. All individuals are born free and equal in dignity, and rights must be protected without discrimination. Non-discrimination. With the above definition, I believe the issues that postulated in the theme of this conference are already covered. Now, human rights as our everyday essentials. I believe we all know what we mean by essentials. Essentials are things that you cannot do without as a human being. For instance, water. Fella says water. You don't get anything. Yes. Water is an essential that you cannot do about. Now, human rights is like water. You get the point I mean? Human rights is like water. It is very essential. You cannot do without it. Fundamentality of human rights, fundamental to human life, to human beings. Then inviolability of human rights, you cannot violate it. Neither can you surrender it. The indiscriminate nature of human rights. You cannot discriminate. You cannot say what I am entitled to, the human rights I am entitled to as a lawyer. A non-lawyer is not entitled to it. It should be discriminatory. Now, I am not fazed or deceived by the high-standing English word. To a large extent, there are ideals or standards of human rights that all humans and nations are expected to accept and pursue. However, in reality, facing our people in African countries differ from country to country. And it also differs from what obtains in the Western Hemisphere. Human rights in the West is different from human rights in Africa. That is, the real substance of it. When we leave definitions, we now go to the practicality of human rights. The experience of various people differs from country to country, depending on the governance system under which. Yes, I agree. Human rights should be our everyday essential. Yes, I agree. Human rights should be fundamental. Yes, human rights should be indiscriminate and non-selective or discriminating in the sense of being accorded and enjoyed by every human. I agree, totally. However, the question is why are the ideals so difficult to achieve? Since 1948, when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the United Nations. That's 77 years ago. Up till now, we are still talking about definition of human rights. For 77 years. When are we going to leave definitions and go to the substance of ensuring that people enjoy the human rights every day as essential for their life. Even if we come very close to Nigeria, since the imposition of Decree 24, alias 1999 Constitution, on Nigeria by the military in 1999, 26 years ago. So, how many years will it take? How long will it take? How many generations must pass before human rights will become real essential for every human being? That is my issue. Are all human rights ideals capable of being achieved at the same place for all people? My answer is no. It cannot be achieved for everybody, everywhere at the same time. Even though there is equality, even though discrimination, even though it is available in legal books, in constitutions, everywhere. But the realization is never possible for the universe at the same time. This is simply because the differences in the governance system, economic system, living standards, and culture of the various peoples that have played the war. For instance, in Nigeria, even though we wish that every citizen of Nigeria will enjoy their rights to education, healthcare, and adequate standard of living, the reality is that most persons, that is the character of persons who are leading governments, as president, governor, and so on, they don't take these rights as priorities. Some of them take religion as their priority. Some of them elevate religion over and above human rights. You can conduct a search of God by yourself. I don't need to tell you. And see for yourself how much is being spent on the construction and renovation of mosques and churches using government funds. That's just one item. That's just one item. Construction, renovation of churches and mosques by government in Nigeria. Just go to it by government in Nigeria. They are ashamed that they are in Nigeria. But then you now understand that the priority of those who govern is different from our own priority. Then they are the ones in government. They are the ones who determine whether we move or we not. You know they have power to order that we should stop this program. To order that we have the power. If they unleash about, just about 15 soldiers and 20 policemen here and say we must not get out of this place. Of course, we will resist. We will be injured. We will resist. But the power of government is so much that they even determine what human rights you enjoy. Whether you should enjoy that human right or not. That's why we say that their own priority is different from our own priority. Human rights is not the priority of any government anywhere, especially in Africa and most especially in Nigeria. Governments with so much power and influence on the people, so much that the realization of their needs will be impossible without government action. If you have a government that is committed to human rights, it will be difficult. The implication of this is that the people under such governments must continue to agitate for their ideas to be achieved during their lifetime, since we know their life forever. When I was jotting down this point, I looked at my daughter. Consider my son. They did not grow up in the farm, my son, like he did. They did not go hunting with their father. Because me, their father, I know the hunter with their father. Some of them only see guns inside movies. Some of them only see guns. Yeah. Many of we, our family, we fathers, parents, how many of you has handled the gun and fired the gun? We fathers, parents, how many of you has handled the gun and fired the gun? Not to talk about how bold are our children. Do you think they can agitate the way we agitated? You think they can do Alita? You think they will go and protest against government? And they see the police. I remember in Ife, who were at the gate, the police came, students now remove their shirts and reveal their bare chests and dare the police to shoot. Reveal their bare chests and dare the police to shoot. Please, when you get to match your children, whether you can participate in the protest against the DPO of the police division. Even the mother will fight for their life. What do you mean? My daughter. So, what do you mean? My We have to, the agitation is something that we have to begin to train our children. That government will not accord them. That government will
not be free. Then we have to learn how to agitate. There are different ways of agitation. Remember the
Lekki protest. EXAS. They said they used social media. There's a limit to what social media does. They use that to mobilize. I believe the number of those who are mobilized by social media, they may be 10 times more than the people who had the courage to come to Lekki protest. Whereas, if 10 times that number were courageous to come and occupy the whole of that place, were courageous to come, the army cannot be deployed. But because they know where they were, those within the country arena, so where it was a closed area. So population matters. Now I therefore call on the various peoples under government that do not prioritize their ideas of human rights to continue to organize their ideas of human rights to continue to organize their crimes. They should use their ideas as battle cries that human rights are part of daily inviolable essentials for a conductive for a conducive environment under which the people can realize their full potential as humans. Where human rights is not being protected, human beings cannot realize their full potential as humans. When you treat your people as animals, as humans, there was the day I was as animals training some police people about right to be people of human beings. And I recall a DPO, you know, this parade they do the division. He was addressing his people, he was angry. I think one of them did something that infuriated him. He started calling them, you cow, goat, animal, you cow, goat. The whole DPO, calling his men and women, cow, animal. Then I said to myself, it takes another animal to recognize another animal. That he himself must be a cow before calling other persons cow. I believe he doesn't know what is called the right to dignity of human persons. Otherwise, he would never have opened his mouth to call human beings animals. So, the culture of agitation or protest is fading. It's facing so much opposition from government. You will agree with me. It's facing so much opposition. The culture of agitation is being opposed by governments. Government that you are presumed to have voted for. It's a presumption. You are presumed to have voted the government to power. But they are now the ones opposing the realization of human rights. They prefer that the people should continue to suffer in silence. They will tell you, yes, it is true. You are experiencing violations of human rights, but then you don't have to make noise about it. Keep quiet about it. Because when you are talking about it, you are inciting others against God. Talking about it. That's what he says. But then why can't the government champion the cause of human rights so that there will be no need for people to complain? Are you aware of what is called cyber arts? Cyber arts. My understanding is that they are human beings employed by government to monitor all the social media and counter any communication that is opposed to government position. They are on WhatsApp groups, they are on Facebook, they are on Instagram, they are everywhere. When you write something and post something that does not favor the government, they are the ones who begin to oppose you. They are being paid to do it. I call them cyber rats. They are being paid to do it. I call them cyber rats. Whose money is being used to pay them? Your money. Whose money is being used to pay them? Your money. Your money. You are aware of the cyber crime laws and so forth. That is the extent of opposition to freedom of expression by the people. In essence, they are saying that when you are suffering, you should not talk like people. You should keep quiet. Even when you write this on social media, they will bombard the place and abuse you and tell you you are not serious, and tell you are lying. Abuse you and tell you you are not. Your money is being used against your human rights. In essence, governments are opposed to the realization of their base of human rights. The people must not sleep and must not allow the government to rest. I mean, if government says the people will not enjoy human rights, you also have the responsibility to ensure that they also don't enjoy the offices, the occupiers. Even government rights, they must not enjoy it, the offices. Another step that should be considered is to organize and join politics and contest under political parties. This is our backward option because the government is against independent candidates. Because the government is, the constitution says anybody can come. Who wants to contest must belong to a political party. Constitution says anybody. So, as CDHR, we cannot support a candidate. So, as CDHR, to be governor of Lagos State, he must belong to a party. And what if I don't want to belong to any of their corrupt parties? Which of the parties is so good that you would like to join? Which of the parties? And if you are able to say, oh, yes, this one is still better than the others, then you enter, you join them, you will now meet the major shareholders, owners of that party. They are the party chairmen, party secretaries, and so forth. They are the ones who will impose candidates. They are the ones who will write the list of candidates and send it to INEC. They are the ones who cannot write your own candidates and send it. They are the ones who will determine who will contest. They are the ones. So, for those of us who has the courage or who has the patience to join them, I wish you all the best. If you can tolerate them, I wish you all the best. Please go and join them. Maybe by the time you pass through their record, when you spend billions of naira of your hard-earned money to clinch a position, if your money is enough, because if your money is not enough, you get nothing. The situation is so bad now. Now candidates for governorship positions and other positions, they come from outside the country. They bring money. Money that they earn anyhow. When I say anyhow, can be fraud. They bring it here, they don't allocate the money to the party leaders, and before you know it, the emerges the candidate. What I'm saying is not strange to you. You know what I'm talking about. So, in essence, the ruling class, what they are doing is to direct us, force us to go through the lane they themselves has carved out. That is only to go through the lane, participation in politics, membership of the party, that we can aspire to become leaders and to govern our people. Of course, we want people like you and me who are well-grounded in human rights, of course, to occupy leadership positions. Yeah, we want it. But they are saying no. Not just like that, you must pass through our system before you can do that. So we should understand why it is difficult for government to ensure the realization of human rights. The struggle for human rights is lifelong, from generation to generation. Let the CDHR now re-strategize and re-energize itself as a mass-based organization and let the struggle continue. The CDHR appears to be the only remaining membership-based organization in the whole of Africa. So when I hear about wrongs with me, I understand very, very well. The CDHR must not continue to be progressive. I understand very, very well. Because they know the progress of CDHR is their downfall. So they will use every strategy to create problems where there is none. Even when the rules are very clear, they will create their own and seek to force it on organizations. Remember this lady who headed the FCC, Farida. This lady, they accuse us of collecting, is it not 52 million or whatever, naira, and that's what we collected in order to campaign against that woman. They will use them, including forces and everything. But what matters most, like I said, let us move forward always. Thank you.
Is loaded. I mean, to say the least, for want of a better word, loaded, highly educated, and that is what we need in CDHR. You see, what the erudite lawyer has demonstrated is that it's also not an erudite scholar has demonstrated who is versed in pedagogy. I'm not talking about pedagogy of the oppressed. He's versed in pedagogy. But I tell you, in the field of human rights of the oppressed, he has demonstrated that. But I tell you, he knows all the rudiments and how to break them down. What are we talking about? We are talking about human rights. He said, as a human being, it is a right you need to enjoy. He mentioned it, that it is a violation of your rights. If you didn't get to that aspect, he mentioned it. For our constitution, to say that you cannot contest an election just because you don't want to belong to a political party. Our constitution. Conversely, a section, although not justiciable, of our constitution still says that you have the right to associate or dissociate. That nobody should force you to join any association. But if it is your right to participate in the politics, in the governance of your country, then you should have the right to participate, not to associate with the existing structure, political structures because they are antisocial, because they conflict with the dictates of your mind, they conflict with the reasoning of your mind that came out of you. Nobody should delegate you to take a position if it doesn't tally with what your conscience indicates. Nobody should force you to join an association that does not conform with the dictates of your conscience. Your conscience is that inner being within you that tells you what is right or what is wrong. You can only be delegated, maybe to an extent, when you are considered to be an infant. Even there's a law, children and young persons law, that allow children, once they are up to 7 years or thereabouts, to express their opinion for their parent or their teacher or their mentor to consider, and have to justify their opposition to the child's opinion. Meaning that if your child is up to 6 or 7 years of primary school age, he or she can call your attention to what he doesn't like. You will violate his or her rights if you do not consider that opinion. You cannot just say, oh, shut up, what do you know? If you are talking about fundamental human rights, it's the functioning of the structures of your being as a human being. I said it the other time. You have mind to consider what is correct or what is not correct, what is right or what is wrong. You have the right to meditate, to consider opinion, to reflect on what you learn, and decide whether you want to take it or you want to discard it. You have the right to decide whether you want to be religious or not religious. Nobody should force you to belong to a religious group. Nobody should force you to belong to a cult. Nobody should force you to belong to a political party. And that means that it is our right to insist that the law that forces people into existing political parties should be abolished. If you want to contest as an individual, the law should allow you to do it. Go and test your popularity among the people. It has been said that you can, and it was emphasized by the legendary lawyer, that you should courageously stand on what is right, even standing alone. Never is here today, and the president of CDHR. They claim so many things. But they couldn't claim that they had violated the letters of the Constitution. The Constitution of CDHR prescribes that the president is the head of the organization. He gives direction to the organization. He provides leadership for the organization. He is the head of all the organs of the organization. He supervises the working, the functioning of all other officers of the organization. You can provide leadership if those who are on the same trip with you will not agree with your leadership traits. At every turn of events, we have different pilots for the vehicle that we are in. And that is why, if things goes bad, it is the leader of that organization that will be mentioned. In Nigeria today, we talk about Bola Tinubu. In Nigeria of yesterday, we talk about Muhammadu Buhari. The policy being implemented by Bola Tinubu is directly different from that of his predecessors. That is the dictate of his own mind. That is what is accommodated within his own conscience. And that is what we should abide. The individuality in us and the individual differences in everybody. The way you think will be different from the way I think. What you consider right cannot be absolutely right. Some other people will see what is wrong in what you consider right. And that is why every individual should be allowed to express himself. I am not going to do the job of the whole talking. We still have, wait for you. So, yes, it is.
Please, a round of applause for Mr. President. Sorry, I don't know if we have the NBA chairman representative in the house. Please, NBA chairman just called me that I sent somebody and somebody is already here. So sorry if you are from NBA Abeokuta or NBA Chota. Kindly signify on the raise of your hand for recognition. Chairman just called me. Well, as you are waiting others to call me, let us listen to another giant.
I apologize. This should have been the very first thing before we took off. And that is remembering our past heroes and heroines. During the period of this journey of about 40 years ago, it has been a matter of life, remembering our life and death. Some of us are alive today, not because we are smarter than those who have died. Since 1989, people have been dying. And every year, people die just because they have to fight for their rights. Some people were killed directly through the barrels of guns. Some people were set up to their own death, maybe planned accident. Some people died in detention centers. Some people died on the street while trying to protest for what they have the right to enjoy. So I want to urge all of us to please stand up and observe the moment silence in memory of our heroes, the first president of CDHR, Dr. Beko Basotuti, the first treasurer in memory of the organization, the first comrade treasurer, comrade Lawrence, I forgot the first treasurer, comrade Lawrence. She's a woman, she's a stenographer, and she actually came to the Broad Street where we were supposed to have started CDHR agitation. Then the second president, comrade Festus Iyayi, Professor Festus Iyayi, died in Kashmir, also accident while agitating for the rights of the academic staff in the universities. Several Chima Bani, Dom, that is the academic.
Barrister A.T. Lawal.
CDHR,
Make his full position
the president,
recognized together.
all dignitaries here present, all officers and members of this organization. Permit me to express my appreciation to the leaders of the organization, all officers and members of this organization. In their own wisdom, invite me to this program. Permit me to express my appreciation, subsidy as a label to the leaders of the organization. It might be right. But man has never learned from history. Some use the word of let's understand. It might be right. The problem we are having in this country today, start from each and every one of us. Man has never learned from. Let us go back to our use the word of various let's understand. The failing we are having in this country today, in our leadership at our various houses, account for the failings in our streets, towns, villages, and by extension, the local government and what have you. The failing in our leadership, from our own little experience, account for the failings in our CDHR, as we are taught, did not start as what we can call a tea party like that. The CDHR led to the formation of CDHR. Did not start. We all know what happens as after our tea party started democracy. The CDHR is very unfortunate during the military days. We are fighting ourselves. After there was a time that some of our leaders were criminalized. It's very unfortunate and being agents of the government. During the military days, you for no just cause. We are fighting ourselves. And one would have thought that we would have learned from the experience that some of our leaders, when we had that meeting at the UT House, criminalized, where there was a crisis situation, the respected RBK. And one would have thought that and Shima, who happened to be inspired, when we had that meeting at the UT House. But over the years, when there was a crisis situation, I will say we have learned the respected. As an entity today, how many NGOs do we have in this country? And Shima. But because of our selfish interests, we are destroying ourselves. But over the years, must we continue like that? I will say we have learned. It's not just a matter of yes and no. As an entity, it is me and you will not allow CDHR to go the ways of men in Nigeria, to go the ways of CNO and others. Must we continue like that? So in this regard, you have to reassess. It is me and you who will not allow CDHR to go the ways of men in Nigeria, to go the ways of CNO and others. Or protesting. So in this regard, against, you have to reassess our approach or better. Let us sit down and discuss it. Not to be using the same principle, the same tools of protesting to damage, to be fighting ourselves against our approach. During the time when I heard about the death of my brother, I discussed it. Not to be using the same principle. I had a long discussion with Shina about I don't know if it's around now. I said it has now become the tradition of women. My brother, it is only when one of us dies that will now be contributing money which is highly resources.
I had a long discussion with
It's very unfortunate.
Baba. I don't know if it's around.
Those who know Abiodun know him not to be sensitive. The question will now have to be if you have a serviceable vehicle and the driver, will he be crossing the road? It's very painful. So I believe if it is true that we talk for actualization of democracy, how many of us are involved in the system? Those of us who are involved in marxism, we are politicians, we did not to deceive ourselves. I believe we will not be partisans. If it is true that even CDHR is a political movement, and that's the many of us are involved in the system. But the question now is that those of us in Nigerian politics who have a faith, we are politicians, we did not to if you are not one of them, whether you can make any. I was a final legal advisor of the AC, and later I'm the final legal advisor of ACN. In Nigerian politics, my brother has just read this place, solo kid, I think he's involved, you are not one of them, whether you can make any. So, but the question is that I was a final legal advisor. When we get to office, and later, are we ready to develop products? My brother has just read this. Are we ready to follow what we are preaching? Any theory that conflicts with parties is sterile. And that's the problem. So it's very unfortunate. Even in this south, the southern part of this country, particularly the southwest, most people to follow what we are that are parading away. Any theory that conflicts, can we say they have the welfare policy or principle? And that's the problem. I was not a socialist. We need not to deceive ourselves. But in a little way, try it best. That does not mean that it's not the one way or the other. But the question is that must we be continuously be fighting ourselves? I was not a socialist. We are not to. But let us see how we can revitalize this organization devoid of personal interest. Personal interest, what I mean by personal interest is that continuously be fighting ourselves. It is considered that it is of personal interest to belong to CDHR. Let us see what we can. When you now pursue that personal interest to an extreme position, you now become self-interest. There is a little difference between personal interest and self-interest. So there is no way we cannot review the past. We should try as much as possible to believe that there is a need for this association to survive, and there is a need for us to develop ourselves. I'm afraid if we continue with our political education, it's not just for us to be parroting human rights. The truth of the fact is that the Nigerian constitution did not recognize human rights. We don't need to deceive ourselves. You are talking about chapter 2 is talking about social principles, which is not just chapter 4 is talking about fundamental human rights. Which right of the human is not fundamental? So there's not. All our rights are fundamental because we are human. But the government created it in a way. So that implies that the slave master did not want the freedom of the slave. So we need not to enslave ourselves. It is we who are celebrating them. It's not as if they are better than us. As a complacent, I know that these are brothers as pastors. That's the matter of what we said. Then the governor of the state. So we need not to who was chairman. So he tries best. That does not mean that he does not have his own shop for me. But some of us will say it's having right. So the question now is that we need to engage in in-house training. Some of our brothers are terribly sick. I asked of Adewale Bashar, one time or the other. I Now that you see, some of us will say it's having right. I wouldn't know whether there's any one of us who is here with a member of the has it not been useful to them at one time or the other? So there are lots of people like that. So let us ask about welfare of ourselves and not the self-interest. So there is a need to be organized association. At the various state level, and we say that we are really playing our role. What our people are doing is to collaborate with the government. So that I must challenge an officer. Say that they engage in collaboration with me, say with other non-governmental organizations. Is it the government NGO or individual? It's very unfortunate. And these are the people that we use to adopt people. Even those who are within their political parties use and adopt. But because we are not organized, we cannot, for us to say we are members of a political party that differ from the existing one. And this has been very, very difficult. Because our politics are monetized. Even those who are within their political party. To start with, if you want to contest an election, they say you have to pay millions of naira. To move. Because we are not organized. And at the end of the day, it's another story. So, brothers, it is not just for us to address ourselves as comrades. Are we truly behaving like comrades? And that's the reason why in most cases, when people call coverage, I will look at the file and answer you. Are you truly my brother? Brothers, so, I mean, can we really say we are brothers? If we have issues, we don't believe in superior arguments, and that's the reason why you only believe that your position is right. So I am appealing to the president and the chief to see what they can do, and whoever might succeed them, the nobles do, let them see how they can put it forward. We have passed through a lot of crises. I think precisely in 2003 or 2002, or 2 years ago, we had a major crisis at Ado. When we now relocated our building, it's our member that recruited all the powerful wealth. We have passed through the countries which is us out. And there are many different options. And we are saying we are covering the human rights. So please let us have the rethinking and see how we can move this organization forward and see how we can actually promote ourselves. Being a stronger does not mean that we should live and die as a poor man. The answer is no. Some of our leaders is because of the responsibility on them, and that's why they are not declaring. Because they have to spend the money they have. Is that the practice today? And see how it is not. It is not for us to now look at, to envy those people who are stealing our money. But the question is that it is our collective responsibility to ensure how those monies are spent judiciously. So, at this note, I will be appealing to all of us to have a rethinking about how this organization will function. So that it is our collective responsibility to ensure how those monies are spent judiciously. So, at this note, I will be appealing to all of us to have a rethinking about how this organization will function. So that
gathering. Some of you didn't bother us about even food. Those who came late yesterday, they went out to feed themselves. Some people have gone out to feed themselves. It is personal sacrifice. So what I tell you is that Nigeria will not be the same thing again after this conference. What we are saying is that human rights is our property. We should not allow any government to continue to trample on our property. Truth is that it is provided for in the Constitution, but it is not justiciable. If you are moving on the expressway and you run into a deep pothole and in fact, your vehicle somersaults, even if it leads to fatality, you cannot go to court and say, government, that is why such a thing happens. If your child doesn't have access to good education, you cannot go to court and be victorious. If you don't have good health care delivery in government hospitals, you cannot go to court and say that they didn't give you health care. The other thing is that they will pretend that they are treating you. They will pretend that they attend to you. But you get the quality of service that you deserve. Will they give you the right type of medication that your ailment deserves? All of these things are not yet justiciable. You don't have the right to food. They don't care whether you eat or not. You don't have the right to housing. They don't care whether you live under the bridge or on the street. Whether you live as a destitute or not. Then they will say, don't do some kind of work. If you don't provide me with essentials of life that will make me live a successful, adequate, and comfortable life, then I will be pushed to certain unconventional means of sustaining myself. And that is why we have a lot of criminality. If there is equity in the distribution of wealth of this country, nobody will be lacking. And that is what the religions, Islam, Christianity, and even traditional African religions, that's what they preach. You should not trample upon the rights of your fellow men and women. But it is being done. Then who will hold them responsible? The judicial system that we should rely on, that should be the last word of the common man. Has also been moderate to a very large extent. So basically, we need to join hands together, whether you are in CDHR or you are not. And if you have been a passive member of CDHR, it is time for you. Your membership is reactivated because it's a long-term battle. For the past 40 years, we have been join hands together. That we have won. If you don't win the battle, you don't back and if you continue courageously. History will always remember you. History justifies the just. It's rehabilitated. So our battle is right. For the past 2 years, to confront the atrocities of government and ensure that they do the bidding courageously. History. Thank you very much. This is the end of the first session.
Before you go into the National Council meeting, let me recognize the presence of MBA Chairman of Ota Branch. She's a lady, and I want to get lawyers who are here. You must not look at her face. So let me go MBA Chairman Ota. Mr. Joseph, please, of course. And that's our chairman from Ota Branch. Madam Chairman, you are welcome. You are also the chairman of MBA Ota, and nobody should look at her face. It's only lawyers that can look at lawyers' faces. So, if you are not a lawyer, then look at her face. Nobody should look at her face. So, we welcome her. You can see National Council, let us allow the chairman to have a floor. I said, it's only lawyers that can look at her face. You're not a lawyer, look at her face. Can you see lawyers looking at lawyers? So don't look at her face. So the chairman, if Mr. Chairman will permit Mr. President, I think going to the National Council, let us allow.
Thank you very much, moderator. I want to say a big welcome to the CDHR for this organizing such a beautiful program for the masses and for the populace. May I stand on all existing protocols? Thank you very much, sir. I'm sorry I'm coming in very late. I had other engagements. In fact, I was telling one of them then that I don't have more than 10 minutes as I'm heading back. In fact, we want it in schools, in secondary schools. When you go abroad, you see little kids telling you their rights, telling you what the government should do for them, telling you what their parents should do for them under their constitution. But here in my mother's and father's land, sometimes when we travel out of this country, we weep, we cry. Particularly 2 years ago, I stopped the car of a sitting governor of the state. I went to his front. It's entourage, sir. I said, don't pass one way. What are you doing to that road that you can't fix it? Before we looked all over the Okada, everybody said they're rushing. They came in. The governor was forced to cut car and check it on YouTube. He carried a megaphone. So they say, yes, we are sorry. It's a federal. Is it federal that's coming to apply that road for us? Yeah, on some road. Before the place was fixed, we fought for it, tooth and nail. Recently, we carried the placard for fixed on the road. The road is almost the worst in Nigeria, sir. It is our right. It is our entitlement. What do we do? Before the place was fixed, we fought. We made sure the protest was not hijacked. But what did you hear? It's all over the news. They said the chairman, she's been, I don't understand, that she's been mobilized to say by other parties. I said, come and sue me. I'm ready. I will fight for my rights, for the rights of the people, and for the rights of those who are collecting taxes from. They knocked my door last year. I said, what is the tax for, sir? I can't see the road. I don't know when, I can't remember when last I saw government water. I don't know when last I didn't hear the sound of generator before I sleep. What is the tax for if I see your leg in front of this office again? They knocked my door last year. We see pepper. What is the tax for, sir? So we need to stand up to challenge every authority, every government, and tell them no to bad government. No to slavery. We are under slavery. We are crying in disguise, sir. So we are covering our shame. We are covering our suffering because Nigerians know how to adapt. We adapt, suffer and smile. Thank you, sir. It's so sad. It is sad. And I want to thank this organization. I want to thank the France. We want more of this, sir. We want more of this. If it can be quarterly, I will be very glad in the jurisdiction. Thank you very much. God bless you.
A round of applause for our chairman. When Ozulana died in NBA Kenya, we didn't know we are going to have new Ozulana until I saw it that NBA chairman wanted to protest. I thought they were joking. I thought NBA chairman, and when I saw you put on jeans and 1 minute. Thank you, madam. A round of applause for her. When they are going to the section up, wanted to please, I thought they were joking. When they come back, sorry, we take much of the time and we hand over the jeans and that. We want the president officially close the session and move to the Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. CDHR, my right is my right is my right. On this note, we declare the opening session closed. Now, we are not doing anything under cover. For those of you who can still tolerate us, thank you very much. The business of the delegate, we look at our delegates, we look at the list, confirm we have 2 delegates, then we begin the business of the organization, different from what we have done with you. We have gained so much from your intervention, and we will continue to work with you. I remember, if your address has been collected at the gate before you get in, we get in touch with you personally. Thank you and welcome. Safe journey back to your homes if you want to go. But if you don't want to go, you can still stay with us and observe us and see how we run our organization. Thank you. We can do that in 5 minutes. For those who want to go out, you have 5 minutes, do that 5 minutes and get back. You can just network and do whatever. You can stretch your leg, you can socialize, you can bingo.